Well, hello everybody. Such a pretty day. You know, I wanted to talk about things that grow in the garden. Now, of course, this isn't my garden. This is my deck. Pretty much everything in here was not planned this year. I never got to my deck. I never changed the pots, or I shouldn't say changed, refurbished them, put more wood chips, did anything. I really never did anything with them this year. Been working in the garden so much. I got tomatoes coming up down there. Okay, I did stick one Korean melon in there, and look at that. I've got multiple melons. This one I put tulle around. I've even got asparagus because Gary brought some asparagus seeds up. Got celery growing. Now, that's what I want to talk about. The celery that's growing in here came up from seed. I didn't put it there. Look at this. This is romaine lettuce that I planted once. I didn't plant it this year. Swing over here. I put a little bit of wood chips in here the other day. You know what this is? That's lettuce. That's lettuce. This is tomatillo. Obviously a tomatillo fell there, and look at a cluster of tomatillos are growing. Because this is tomatillo. There was a tomatillo in there. Let me back up. Garlic chives. Didn't plant that. Green Swiss chard. Must have carried a seed over here. Popolo? Yep, guilty. I did put some popolo seeds there. And yes, I just stuck I guess something out of one of my squash in there. But literally stuck it in there. Apple seeds. This is an apple tree. Yeah, I was cutting open an apple, I guess earlier in the year, and I just stuck the seeds in there because they were sprouting in the apple. But this is more lettuce back there, as you can see. Look at the garlic chives. Look at that. I don't plant garlic chives. I really need to. They plant themselves. My pollinators come, do their thing, and they're on their own. More garlic chives down there. This is lettuce. Again, it's going to reseed itself. Celery down there. I didn't plant the celery. What I'm trying to make a point is there's people that, and I do complain too, that complain that, oh, they've got stuff growing they don't want. Look down here. You see all this in there? That's lettuce. You do want to grow the plants that are coming up on their own, because that means it's really happy where you are. And you will always have plants that do that. You should. You know, my garlic chives come up on their own. My walking onions even fall over and come up on their own. Of course, the celery, I've talked about that all the time. I end up with celery coming up everywhere. That's the whole idea of having a garden, in having a successful garden, is growing things that want to grow where they grew before. Like the tomatillos. I didn't plant them. I must have left an old tomatillo in there and it came up on its own. Tomatoes do that all over my garden. Of course, the mint does. Here's more lettuce. Let me swing over here. Hey, lettuce. I didn't plant that. This one looks like it's going to go to seed. That's okay. The tomatoes, I didn't plant that. I did put the walking onion in there, probably last year. But you want the stuff that wants to grow. That's the stuff you want. Because that means you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is water it and reap the benefits from it, because it wants to grow. And I can take you in my garden. We can walk around and talk about the things growing there too. This is on the deck. I really had plans. I was going to, fix it all up. And I am going to do some more stuff up here, maybe in the winter. But I had all these plans and I never got to them. And so the plants, they didn't wait for me. They went and did their own thing. This has been here now for a long time. This is oregano. Just does its own thing. You want plants that will grow on their own. You want plants that are thriving without you trying to do anything for them. Now, does that mean you don't want to grow other stuff? Of course not. Of course you want to grow other stuff. You want to grow different things. Do we grow things that are easy? Yes. Do we grow things that are a challenge? Yes, we do. I waited over 25 years to get our first chocolate sapote. Hey, I married Gary for that tree. No, I'm kidding. He bought the tree and proposed and said he wanted to get married and he was going to feed me chocolate sapotes. Well, I married him anyways, even though the tree never produced any fruit. And he worked with that tree and he worked with that tree. And a year or so ago, maybe a little over a year, it threw a couple little things that looked like marbles, but they never did anything. So he loaded the wood chips underneath a couple years ago, I guess, when it started that, and started taking care of it. And now we have a lot of chocolate sapotes. And I guess next year we'll have even more. But that was a challenge. That was working with the tree and doing research and trying to find out what he was doing wrong. And well, I don't think he was doing anything wrong. I think what happened with that tree is that tree just needed the right conditions. And the wood chips for him fed that tree correctly, because there's nothing better than wood chips as far as minerals and everything that the tree needs. I mean, think about it. Trees are pulling the deepest roots in the ground. They're pulling everything up. And when they chip that whole tree, well, you're just giving that all back to the plants, because they're getting the leaves and the branches and everything chipped, and it's breaking down and the microbes are coming, and that's just fantastic. Well, that changed that tree, and now it's been full of fruit. I think there's a few left on there for this year, and we'll see what happens in the spring. But of course you want to have things that are a challenge, because that's part of gardening. You want to plant something that's different. And that's what I'm pointing out on the lettuce. I get my romaine lettuce growing everywhere. It's coming up like I showed you here, all on its own. I don't even have to plant it. I can transplant them if I want. I can take the seeds right off of these romaine lettuce here. These are seeds, and I can put them anywhere I want. And I do that once in a while, and that's why I end up with things in places I forgot that I did that. I tried freckle lettuce. I was going to grow tons of freckle lettuce, which looks like romaine, and it's got red on it. Well, they grew, the ones I bought. They went to seed, but I have yet to see one come up. So why should I go out of my way trying to fight to grow romaine freckle lettuce when the green is doing beautifully here? I don't need that. The green's going to be fine for me. You want things that are growing in your yard. That's why if it grows really good, you want to collect the seeds, especially if you're in an area that it snows. So you want to collect that seed, and in the spring when the time is right, you want to just, if you don't want to plant it, just throw it. Just throw it and let it do its own thing. Let it grow on its own, like our Swiss chard grows all over. Let it grow on its own and let it do its thing. In the meantime, set up your fancy plants and the ones you want to try to grow, like maybe Korean melons, or whatever you want to grow. Set those up. Work with the different things, but make sure you've got stuff that wants to grow on its own too. Don't fight it to get rid of it. Encourage it to keep growing. I've got more lettuce growing in here. See, that's lettuce growing. It's all going to grow on its own, and that's the way it should be. So I could walk around the garden, or we could just do this today. But that's my food for thought. Grow what grows good. Encourage it to grow. Help it out sometimes a little bit. And then also, go ahead and do what doesn't grow good and things you have to work at. Because if it's successful, it makes you feel good. Makes you feel like you've done something. Look at this. I didn't plant these tomatillos here. Again, it grew last year. All it took was dropping some seeds in once. Oh, I see more pomegranate back there. And see the pomegranate? Sometimes I had a pomegranate, threw it in there, forgot about it, and that's the way they grow. That's the way nature intended it to grow. So encourage what wants to grow and work on other things that don't want to grow. If you can get them to grow, even if somebody told you they won't grow, once you get them to grow, that plant, even though it may not be able to grow there, that particular plant that decided to grow might be the one that you've got to collect the seeds on, propagate from, and grow. Look at that. Now, another tip that has nothing to do with seeds. If you've got a tomato plant in your garden and you've got winter coming on and you know you're going to not be able to, keep that plant alive in your garden, try to take some cuttings off of it and try to put them in a little pot and winter them. If you're in an area that gets snow and really cold, winter them in the house in a pot. See if you can keep them alive. I know a lot of people that do that. If you can, come spring, you can stick them out in the ground at the right time and then they'll take off. And that's just from a cutting off a tomato plant. So maybe that's it for today. I think I'll just stick with the deck. Food for thought. Just to show you that things do want to grow even when you don't even put the effort into growing it. Encourage those plants. Okay, I don't know what I'm going to do with the apple trees yet. I don't have the heart to pull them out and compost them. So I got apple trees growing over there, and who knows, you're not supposed to really grow apple trees from seeds, but you never know, I could end up with a fabulous apple. I could graft it too. Haven't mastered that yet. Maybe sometime. I'm not really big personally into trees. Gary likes doing the trees. I do just smaller plants, but as life goes on, you start doing other things. So I do plan on moving those trees because obviously they're not going to be able to grow in that little 5-6 inch deep pot there. So with that, I think I've spoken up for today. It's food for thought. Have a great day. And let's look over at my Korean melons. I just love these things. I absolutely love them. They're so easy to grow. Had to cover them up. I don't want to take any chances of anything, rats or anything trying to get them. A little tool seems to do it. They don't like the feel of the tool. Rats, squirrels, even rabbits, so they'll back off. You can't put tool around it until you've got the fruit. Once you know that the flower's done, see, like the flower's done there, if that starts to grow a fruit, I'll wrap a little bit because you need the bees to pollinate it. So with that, have a great day and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye.